Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll introduce you to some cattle operations that have made conservation a priority as we highlight the 2023 winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award. We'll also examine why this program is so important to the future of the beef industry.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. Thanks for joining us. For more than 3 decades, the Environmental Stewardship Award Program, also known as ESAP, has recognized the nation's best operations for their outstanding stewardship practices and conservation achievements. These regional and national winners are honored for their commitment to protecting the environment and improving fish and wildlife habitats while operating profitable cattle operations. Today, we're introducing you to a few of the regional winners for 2023 and taking a closer look at their operations. So how are the ESAP winners selected, and what exactly does this award mean to the beef industry? Joining us now is Gary Price, chair of the selection committee. Gary, why is it so important that we tell the story of America's farmers and ranchers and their stewardship practices through the Environmental Stewardship Award program?
Kevin, we've got so many great producers in the country that are doing great work. So it's very important that we highlight the best of the best, bring them forward and honor them and all the stewardship work that they're doing. It's just very important to the industry, and to be able to showcase that, all they're doing for not only air, water, but the environment and how they're taking care of their cattle is just so important.
And you're chairman of the selection committee. I'd like you to share with our viewers a little bit about what goes into selecting these national winners.
Sure, it's quite a process. They're actually nominated usually by either a friend or they're nominated by their state affiliate. And those nominations actually are going to be due coming in March 8th of this year for those nominations of coming across the country. But quite a process. We have volunteers that have been selected from all over the country, producers, ranchers, feeders that'll be there, university folks, even some government folks within RCS and U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and really appreciate all their participation through the years. But we get together, we have quite really intense discussions about those, and we don't always agree, but we come up, we feel like at the very end, with the very best of the best. And so that's the process, and we'll do that again this year in May.
And these folks really do serve as not only examples, but inspiration to other folks for what we might be able to do on our own farms and ranches. Would you agree?
Absolutely. We feel like this is going to inspire other producers to be better when they see, the very good work that they're doing. And it also inspires those outside the industry to understand exactly what it means day to day, in their operations, not only, again, taking care of the animals, but taking care of the land as well.
Now, you and your family were fortunate to win this award a few years back. Tell us, what did that mean to your own ranching operation?
Yeah, it's been tremendous. This was back in 2012, and we were very honored and very fortunate to have received the award, and it's just really opened up so many gates for us and throughout the country, and to meet other producers, be able to have tours on the ranch. We're going to be hosting the McDonald's group here again in March, and some of their franchise owners in Texas, and that wouldn't have happened without this award. So we're very honored, blessed to have been able to receive that.
And we appreciate your continued service and commitment to this program, Gary. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin.
Now, if you'd like to find out more about the Environmental Stewardship Award winners, see photos and videos, or even learn how to nominate someone for the award next year, just visit the website environmentalstewardship.org. NCBA represents cattle farmers and ranchers in 7 different regions around the country. And accordingly, there's one winner of the Environmental Stewardship Award from each region. So now, let's head to Virginia to check out one of the honorees.
Stewardship means protecting the environment and doing the right thing. My family are just caretakers of this land, and we want to leave it in better condition than how we found it. Hi, I'm Keith Tuck of Tuck Farms from Moneta, Virginia. My grandfather purchased this farm in 1962, and this is where I was born and raised. Today I manage this farm along with my son Andrew, who just graduated from Virginia Tech, and my son Andrew will be the fourth generation. I used to think of myself as a cattle farmer, but now I'm thinking of myself as a grass farmer. Basically, I'm growing grass, and that's what I'm selling through beef. Tobacco used to be our main cash crop, but over the years we've converted the tobacco field into pastures. My approach to rebuilding the forage base was to use intensive grazing. Instead of having one large pasture where cattle continuously graze, you're moving the cattle to another pasture so that previously grazed one has time to rest and recover.
It all starts at the soil level. To have good soil, to have good forage growth. So by not overgrazing the forage that's there and by giving it adequate rest length, that forage is able to rebound quicker and grow faster, and the quality of that forage and soil has improved over the years.
Not only do we have multiple paddocks, but we converted 43 acres of cool season pastures into warm season grasses to help balance forage production. And that's saving my cool season pastures from getting overgrazed, and it's saving me from feeding hay in the summer that I used to have to typically do. Profitability has increased dramatically because I'm no longer spending a lot of fertilizer money. My fuel's cut in half because I'm not running the tractors very much. I've no hay equipment no more. So I actually have some money in my bank account.
Implementing the cross fencing, some of those paddocks are without trees and natural shade. So since then, we've purchased mobile shade units, and that's allowed us to have shade in any pasture at any time. So there's also a few environmental benefits. If there's a spot in the field that doesn't have quite as good forage quality or soil health, we can place the mobile shade units in the spots so the manure from the cattle can improve the soil. This farm has been in my family for 4 generations, so it's special to me to also be a part of it and to have my own cattle one day and farm this land as well.
I feel it a huge responsibility on me to keep this place thriving and growing and sustainable. My stewardship mindset came really from my grandfather and my father. I mean, they've always been good stewards of the land, and I'm constantly researching, reviewing, reading articles, or looking up stuff online. I'm thinking ahead for generations because, I want my children, their children, and their children's children for this place to be sustainable for all of them, to enjoy and to make a living off of.
We're just getting started on this special edition of Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Coming up, we'll introduce you to 2 more operations that have made stewardship a priority as we continue our look at the 2023 ESAP regional winners.
Weather Watch is almost up, and this week I'm going to be chatting about, is this El Nino event kind of living up to its expectations, and what's ahead? That's straight up in this week's Weather Watch.
There's never a dull moment for the Nelsons. 5th generation Montana ranchers. Since 1868, they've been herding cattle, reeling in trout, and exploring Paradise Valley from their backyard. Here's to another 150 years of adventure. There's a story in every piece of land. Run with us on a John Deere Gator XUV and start telling yours.
Did you know you can get reimbursed for attending cattle industry educational events? The Rancher Resilience Grant helps cattle producers attend valuable programs such as Cattlemen's College and Stockmanship and Stewardship training sessions. Local, state, and national events qualify for the grant, and successful applicants can receive money back to help cover registration fees and hotel expenses. To apply for the Rancher Resilience Grant, go to ncba.org and click on the Producer tab. It can be tough to keep up with all the issues that impact the beef cattle business. That's why NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen is dedicated to bringing you valuable news, information, and education. The goal is to give you the knowledge you need to make the best decisions for your operation. So if you're looking for in-depth coverage of the beef industry and the issues that matter to you, don't miss Cattlemen to Cattlemen, debuting every week on RFD TV and on YouTube.
Today, we're highlighting some of the 2023 regional winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award. Let's meet the winners from Florida.
I always look at the way that we manage our habitat is that if it's good for the cows, it's good for the wildlife. Yeah, they live in harmony. My name is Lisa Pretty, and my family owns BARC Ranch, purchased by my grandfather back in the early 50s. After he purchased the ranch, my dad was able to take it over and run it, and then Russell and I are now owners and running it. We're the third generation, and of course my kids are the fourth generation.
Raising cattle in South Florida is not easy, and there are a number of challenges that we face in doing this. The land is beautiful, but it can also be very harsh.
It's a good environment for invasive species, and that's probably our primary effort, is to take care of the invasives.
Brazilian pepper, left uncontrolled, it will just absolutely become a monoculture to where if you drove on the ranch, all you could see is a Brazilian pepper.
My husband Russell is the guru of weed and invasive species control here on the ranch.
I have a fairly extensive list of land management tools that we use. The first on that list is probably control burns. We chemically spray some of our pastures for weeds. I bring in track hose to help us get in places that we otherwise can't get. We're at least 95% free of Brazilian peppers, but it is a constant battle. And it's certainly improved the grasses, and we've been able to build the herd up because we've uncovered more areas that grass can grow.
BARC Ranch provides habitat for over 20 endangered and protected species in Florida.
We have a challenge with predators, particularly the Florida panther.
Panthers prey on our calves, and we know that we lose maybe as much as 8% of our calf crop every year. We're still looking for solutions to the predator problem. It's a very, very complicated an emotional issue, and that I really believe that the public is willing to assist financially for those areas that are able to offer these ecosystem services for the animals that they're wanting to protect. We put our heart and souls into it. We really care.
Lisa and I love this land, and we're dedicated to doing whatever it takes to improve it.
My kids love the ranch, and that just warms your heart to know that you've been able to pass along those feelings to another generation.
When we come back, we've got another outstanding family to highlight as we continue our look at some of the 2023 regional winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Weeds will rob me of my investments. The weeds are not palatable to cows. They will not eat them, or if they do eat them, some of them may be toxic. So there's a return on investment by allowing there to be more grass available to be grazed by the cattle.
that certain time in the day when you can take a deep breath, knowing your work is done. That's the feeling Aspen products can create. Cost-effective alternatives to name brands that deliver the same results. Qualaxin is one of them. Use it to prevent and treat respiratory disease in your herd. Then breathe easy. Find them at Animal Health International.
Time now for Weather Watch with meteorologist Matt Makins.
The last time we spoke was a weather watch that talked about kind of the spring options, headed toward a neutral phase, what that meant for precipitation and things. I thought it would be important because some people have asked, has this event really lived up to its expectations? This event meaning this El Nino event. So let's do that in today's weather watch. October to March, temperatures during strong El Ninos, and the cold season precipitation during strong El Ninos. And then we'll bring in what has happened so far. So temperatures to date and precipitation totals to date. How are they comparing? Let's take a closer look. Well, temperatures very warm, much warmer than average for the upper Midwest and New England. There's some pockets of colder stuff down here in the southeast and to the southwest, into the central plains, mostly the central Rockies. And for precip, focused heavily so far this season on the west coast, central plains, into the upper Midwest, the southeast, and New England and mid-Atlantic. So we're seeing kind of this pattern of, it's definitely an El Nino pattern, especially when you look at the temperatures. And let's see how the temperatures compare. That's not bad. It's not bad for an outlook. Was expecting something like this, and we're having this. Pretty close match overall. What about precipitation? During strong events, you expect something like this. And here we have this outcome right now. We're seeing in history a lot more water down across the south. We're kind of missing out on that in New Mexico, Texas, East Oklahoma so far this season. It's been shifted up to the north a little bit. And that's due to kind of the strength overall of this El Nino event. At times, it really hasn't been that strong at all. The oceans have remained a very strong El Nino, but the atmosphere at times has just been like ignoring that part of the oceans. So what does history say? A return to El Nino only happens 14% of the time at this point. Period of neutral, 21%. What's much more likely? For La Nina to develop at 64% likelihood. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to be back into La Nina by, say, the summer, if not right in the summer, by fall at the latest. And we'll have more on what that means for your summer outlook in future weather watches. Until then, Matt Makins here.
We've already seen two great operations as we highlight some of the 2023 winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award. Let's head to Region 4 now and meet the winner from Texas.
Stewardship means to me that I'm a shepherd, and shepherding means to take care of all the living things that call this place home. No animal, plant, or insect is too insignificant for consideration. Hi, I'm Meredith Ellis of BARC Ranch in Roston, Texas. My mom and dad started this ranch in the early 1980s. I'm in charge today along with our manager, Mike Knabe. We also have the third generation on the ranch, my son, GC. I'm not a public speaker. I'm an introvert, but whenever I go to share my story, I think of my son and I have this courage in me because it's not about me. It's about his future and what that's going to look like. Ruminant animals existing on the prairie are something that can live in great symbiosis and harmony with the natural ecosystem. And so far I've documented well over 510 different species that thrive on this ranch alongside grazing cattle. Part of the 5 principles of soil health is integrating livestock grazing, so it's okay to have them there, but you want to mimic a natural process of how the bison would migrate across the United States. And so that's where we will come in and fence off areas to where we would like to see more impact by the cattle or less impact by the cattle. Every day we are in the pasture monitoring what our cattle are grazing. We're making sure that balance is there between the cattle getting an equal benefit as to what the land is benefiting. It is because of cattle that our national grazing lands are as abundant and full of life as they are. We've participated in a number of different studies. One of them is the Ecosystem Services Market Consortium, which took some soil measurements around our ranch, and the outcome is pointing towards that we're sequestering 2,500 tons of CO2. So that's like taking 551 cars off the road every single year that I do ranching like I do. In everything that we do at the BARC Ranch, we're committed to continually improving the environment in which our ranch operates. We're eager to be curious and explore and try new things. When I'm 99 years old, I will still be on my journey of learning. My conviction is to take care of this landscape and to protect it and make sure that it continues to be working lands. And it will continue to be a thriving, diverse community for all the living things, including cattle.
When we return, we'll wrap up this special edition of Cattlemen to Cattlemen and tell you how you can be nominated for the Environmental Stewardship Award. Stay with us.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest and largest national cattle industry organization working to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen, email updates in the NCBA Beef Bulletin, plus big discounts only for NCBA members. Join by calling 866-233-3872 or online at ncba.org.
Now, it's not too early to start thinking about nominations for the next group of Environmental Stewardship Award winners. Any organization or individual can nominate a beef producer for the award. A committee of experts from inside and outside the cattle industry evaluates each nominee and picks a winner from each NCBA region. The selection committee looks for both sound conservation practices and the ability to serve as spokespersons for the industry. You can download a copy of the nomination packet at environmentalstewardship.org. For this week's Legacy Photos, we've got some beautiful images from the award-winning operations we highlighted in this episode. Let's take a look. Now, one of these Regional Stewardship Award winners will be named the national winner at April's legislative conference in Washington, D.C. It's an important event where members of the cattle industry join NCBA's Washington-based policy team for 3 days of advocacy on Capitol Hill. You can get details on how to attend at the website ncba.org. So there you have it, a look at some of the regional winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award for 2023. We salute and thank all the winners, the sponsors, and everyone involved who has helped make the Environmental Stewardship Award program a success for the last 3 decades. That's our time for this special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.